So let's have a little late night, well, early morning chat. Okay? Let's have a little chat. You know, the world is in uproar about Whoopi Goldberg and her statements um, in regards to the Holocaust. And I'm not here to really say if what she said was right or if what she said was wrong. I want to point out a subconscious pattern with this woman because this is what I do. I am the occult view. And the subconscious mind is the occult because it's the hidden aspects of who we are. It's the darker, hidden aspects of who we are. And we make decisions based upon the shadows, our shadows, that are lurking in the dark. Let me just say it that way so people can understand what I'm saying. Here's what I'm talking about. Whoopi Goldberg has a history of supporting and making excuses for not just racism against black people, but also racism against Latinos and Hispanics. She has made excuses for racism against she's made excuses for anti-Semitic comments. She made excuses, I'm sure, for her husband, Ted Danson, who dressed up in blackface. So I'm not really surprised that she made these statements. And I'm not here to debate on whether what she said was right or not. That's for the Jewish community to determine that. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm looking at her subconscious pattern. She is caught in a subconscious pattern of appeasing racist ideologies and racist people. Do you all remember? And not only that, she also appeases the abuse of women in the industry. She appeases that. Do you remember? Well, maybe you don't remember. I think it was back in 2010. 2010, Joan Rivers appeared on The View. And Joan Rivers made a statement in regards to Mel Gibson because at that time, I think Barbara Walters was still on the panel at that time. All hail Queen Barbara Walters, child. But anyway, and where is Barbara Walters anyway? Is she really dead? Is Barbara Walters really dead? And they just not telling us? That's another story though. And I've asked that question before. I just woke up, so you gotta excuse me. I woke up kind of early. It was a very, very long day yesterday, child. So back in 2010, Mel Gibson was he was involved in a very, very bad controversy. He was caught and recorded saying racist things about black people. He has a history of being anti-Semitic towards the Jewish community. And Joan Rivers pointed this out. It took a Caucasian woman to point this out to Whoopi Goldberg. And this is only one of several subconscious patterns that she has or that she walks in. And she probably doesn't even consciously realize it. So Joan Rivers said that, Mel Gibson, he hates Jews, he hates gays, he hates blacks, all this other stuff, just like a lot of the worthless black niggas in the occult conscious community who hate gay black. They love them white boys. They love white boys, but they don't like gay black people. They don't like, black people in general, even though black people are the main ones that patronize their shitty motherfucking products and every motherfucking thing else. But that's another story. Same as with Whoopi Goldberg. She made the point that Mel Gibson is a bigot. He really does not like Jewish people. He is extremely anti-Semitic. And Joan Rivers pointed out to Whoopi Goldberg that you said, let's give him a chance. Even after all of his anti-Semitic rhetoric and all of his racist rhetoric against black people or African Americans. And Whoopi Goldberg got very indignant and said, well, he's my friend. And, you know, people say stupid shit all the time. People say stupid shit. I get that. But when he was on that phone call with his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend or some woman he was dating at the time, he was enraged with her for whatever reason. I don't remember what the circumstances were, but he was enraged with her. And he told that woman, I hope you go and get raped by a bunch of N-words. I'll say it, but I don't want to say that, you know, in conjunction with rape. Because you know how YouTube is. But he said, I hope you get raped by a bunch of N-words. It was on recording. People heard him say this. And Whoopi Goldberg chopped it up to, oh, he was having a bad day. And what was the analogy that she used? You know, I have a memory like an elephant. She used the analogy that, you know, if she's driving on the road and a white person pisses her off, they're a white MF. If a black person pisses her off, they're a black MF. If it's a Hispanic person, they're Hispanic MF. And I understand that concept because I'm an equal opportunist as well. I don't care about race. If you're a fucked up motherfucking individual, you're a fucked up individual, truth be told. Now, I have my preferences for certain types of people, but race really, you know, it really, I don't care about that. It's black people like Whoopi Goldberg who put certain races of people in certain categories, okay? So she made these ignorant, supporting racist statements. She supported Mel Gibson. She went to bat for Mel Gibson, okay? She did the same thing for Ted Danson, I'm sure, when he did that blackface skit. But she was okay with that. I think, wasn't she dating him or married to him? I can't keep up. She was married to him, wasn't she? At one time. Or dated him or something like that. Did she ever call Ted Danson out? Not to my knowledge. Then let's go a little bit further into the future. When Rosie Perez, I believe she's a Latina. When Rosie Perez was saying to Whoopi Goldberg, they were having a very heated discussion on race. Rosie O'Donnell had just returned to the panel at that time. Because remember, she had left as the moderator, which, my personal opinion, Rosie O'Donnell should be the motherfucking moderator again. I liked her better as the moderator. And Whoopi Goldberg should just be, you know, on the sidelines. And I don't give a fuck who got a problem with it. I said it, and I'm not taking it back. And I'm going to tell you why. They were having a conversation about race and the racism that people of color experience on a subconscious level from other people, particularly Caucasians. And Rosie Perez was making the point that, look, if me and my sister Carmen, if we were to go into a store or go into a hotel, an expensive hotel, they will come to my sister Carmen and treat her like, and think that she's the maid and ask her, can you clean my toilet? Or can you give me some towels? Now, when I see a Hispanic or Mexican person, I don't automatically assume that they are in some type of domestic type of service or work. I don't do that. And there's nothing wrong with being in that type of work. Let me be clear about that. Because there's dignity in all motherfucking work. If I had to do domestic work, I would be the best damn motherfucking maid or domestic person that was put on this motherfucking planet. So there's nothing wrong with the work, but it's the implication. It's the implication and the subjugated prejudice and racism that when you see a person of a certain ethnicity, you automatically assume, oh, that person must be a maid. Same thing they used to do to black people, but now they transferred that to Latinos and Mexicans. Okay? And I think that that's fucking wrong. So she was making the point that, that's hurtful. I could see it in in Rosie Perez's eyes, that that's hurtful to her. And she's a Virgo, and we are very sensitive people. We are very sensitive people, and we may not show it. And when people disregard our feelings and mistreat us, hell hath no motherfucking fury. Because I feel as though that when you disrespect my energy, that's an act of war. That's another story, though. So Whoopi Goldberg goes on this tangent talking about, but is that racism or just ignorance? And Rosie Perez and Rosie O'Donnell, and I believe Laverne Cox, who's a transgender actress who played on Orange is the New Black. Some of you all may know who she is. Laverne Cox was on the panel that day as well. And Rosie O'Donnell chimed in and said, Whoopi, it's both. It's racist and it's ignorant. Because Whoopi was trying to say that they probably are not doing it intentionally. And that may be true. So by her saying, or by her belief, that they're not doing it intentionally, she doesn't believe that it was racism or connected to racism. Because that's her subconscious pattern. When she played in the movie Fatal Beauty, a lot of people may not have seen that movie, but when she played in that movie, that was a total humiliation ritual for her to be in that movie. I mean, the lines that were directed towards her character in that movie, they tore her down. That is how she was able to get to where she's at, because she went through major racist humiliation rituals. Look at the movie Fatal Beauty. She played a police officer named Rita Rizzoli. Look at that movie. She was degraded by her co-workers. Her character was, a part of the storyline. I'm not talking about behind the scenes in real life. I'm talking about in the virtual world, aka the movie. Her character of Rita Rizzoli was dealing with a lot of racist, male chauvinist white males who were saying the most horrible things to her character in that movie. And we knew, and it's connected to race. So when she said that the people who think that Rosie Perez's sister is a maid, that it is not connected to racism, Rosie O'Donnell was like, Whoopi, it's both, it's ignorant and it's racism. Rosie O'Donnell is a gay white woman. And she was trying to explain something to Whoopi Goldberg, but she wasn't listening because she's caught in a subconscious pattern of accepting racism. That is until what happened to George Floyd and her motherfucking ass woke the fuck up. And all of this shit she was talking after George Floyd was murdered, I was thinking back to everything that I'm telling you now about her response to Rosie Perez and Rosie O'Donnell. Her response to Joan Rivers when Joan Rivers was trying to tell her that Mel Gibson was an anti-Semitic and a racist. So her and Rosie O'Donnell got into an exchange. And Rosie O'Donnell was like, Whoopi Gold. I keep wanting to call her by her full name. Rosie O'Donnell was like, Whoopi, I'm a white woman. I know about racism. I'm a gay white woman. And Whoopi Goldberg had an issue with that. She said, you are a white woman trying to tell me about racism. And Whoopi Goldberg's definition of racism is very myopic and it's very, very limited. She said that racism is when a person walks up to you and says, I hope you die, you N-word of another race. And we all know that racism is a much more complex system than just that. We know that. It's not just black and white. And Rosie O'Donnell was telling her, I understand how implicit bias, I understand prejudice. I am a gay person who gets called a dyke and all types of horrible, hateful names every day. And she wasn't really trying to intertwine gay people's suffrage and black people's. What she was making the point that she knows what hatred looks like in general. And by her being a white woman, Rosie O'Donnell has been around a bunch of racists. That's how she knows how they operate. She's a white woman in America. So why wouldn't Whoopi Goldberg understand that she knows what racism and hate is? She didn't get it because she was so busy trying to be right. She was so busy trying to be right. Just like when Monique was on The View. Just like when Monique was on The View. When Monique was telling her story about how she was mistreated by Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels. Whoopi Goldberg shut her down and said basically, well, Monique, I'm speaking in my own language and I'm reading between the lines. She basically told Monique, you didn't take the dick the right way. You didn't take the dick far enough. You didn't allow them to fuck you in your ass and your mouth and in your pussy and nut all over you, which Monique did not. She didn't allow those motherfucking entities and institutions to control her. And when she was trying to tell her story, Whoopi Goldberg was very uncomfortable with that. Then, when George Floyd gets murdered, all of a sudden, racism is a problem in this country. And I'm thinking to myself, this bitch, and yeah, I'm saying it like that, this bitch is crazy. And I used to be a Whoopi Goldberg fan. I still am in a way. But ever since she got on The View, her view has been very, very manipulated. Ever since she got on The View, she has supported racism. She has supported anti-Semitism. Now, what she said about the Holocaust not being about race, some people can look at that however they want to. Okay? But what I'm pointing out, because I'm an occultist, you have to look at her subconscious pattern. This is her subconscious pattern. She is caught in a subconscious pattern. You have to go back to Fatal Beauty. Go back to that movie Fatal Beauty and look at how the men who played in that movie with her, look at how they spoke to her character. They were very degrading towards her. They were very humiliating they humiliated her. They said the most horrible things to her. And it was because she was a better detective than they were. This was all part of the storyline. Fatal Beauty was a good motherfucking movie. I don't know why it didn't get more reviews, but it was a good motherfucking movie. It came out in 1987. So when I look at Whoopi Goldberg's subconscious pattern, it doesn't surprise me that she said the Holocaust was not about race, when a large part of the Holocaust was about race, because Hitler looked at the Jewish community as an inferior race and parasites, and he acted on exterminating them. That's what he did. He didn't believe that they were pure white. Now, while I can look at her statement and say that she was coming from another angle, again, it is a subconscious pattern for her to dismiss racism and to not want to talk about it. But when George Floyd was murdered, all of a sudden, she becomes this person who now gets it. Aha! This country has a racist problem. Aha! This country has an anti-Semitic problem. It was too little too late. Too little too late to love again. It was too little too late, honey. Too little too late to love again. I know I sound terrible, child, but I try. So now they have suspended her from The View. And now, because of her now she is basically reaping and paying for her subconscious pattern that she doesn't even recognize that she's walking in. She has made excuses for racism countless times. And then you go and say something like that about Jewish people, the people that run the fucking industry? You blatantly dismiss their Holocaust? And I'm only looking at it from their perspective. I'm not no Joan of Arc for nobody, but I'm being what they call objective. This isn't about sides. It's about the subconscious pattern. And you can see her subconscious pattern of obedience to this institution. This was another prime example of her dismissing racism. And somebody said, oh no, we can't let her get away with that. We can let her get away with talking about niggas. We can let her get away with talking about them Latin motherfuckers too. No disrespect to the Latin community. I'm just saying what they probably said. When she sat up there and said that Rosie Perez's sister was not being discriminated against because she was Latino. When we all know that a large percentage of Latino women do domestic work. And I know that may sound contradictory, but I'm just pointing it out. But every Latino woman or Mexican woman is not doing domestic work. So you can't automatically assume that. You can't automatically assume that. That is prejudice. That is prejudice. And that is a form of racism and implicit bias. It is. No matter how you fucking look at it. So now she's gotten caught up in her subconscious pattern. And they're saying, oh, no more. You cannot say things like that in this climate. And I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's wrong. I'm just saying what the fuck it is. But for her to blatantly dismiss the anti-Semitism and racism that went along with the extermination of the Jewish people, that's just like dismissing the Black Holocaust that nobody talks about, where there were even more people, black people murdered, over 100 million or more. But according to Whoopi Goldberg, it's not racism. It's just people mistreating other people. The same thing goes for her defense of Bill Cosby. And let me say this right now to all you black Bill Cosby fans out there. This ain't no motherfucking read or hate towards Bill Cosby. I'm just pointing out he was found guilty. And she supported him, and she never said, you know what, I was wrong, or, you know, I take accountability. I don't remember her doing it. for supporting something that I thought was accurate. She thought that Bill Cosby was innocent, allegedly, which I don't believe she thought he was innocent. But let's just play the game for a minute. And she and Rosie O'Donnell got into that exchange too. No, the real reason Monique did not go along with Lee Daniels and Oprah Winfrey and Tyler Perry was because they wanted to send her over to the Cannes Film Festival so she could get fucked. Excuse my language. That's the real fucking tea. That's what they do. So you can be the industry's whore. So they can ritualize you in those sex rituals that they do. That's the real fucking tea. And Monique said, no, bitch, I don't get down like that. And ever since she did that, her career ain't been the same since. Her career has not been the same since. And Whoopi Goldberg knows this. So let's look at her subconscious pattern. She excuses sexual violence against women. She defends predators, racist predators, sexual predators. I'm not talking about Bill Cosby per se. I'm not talking about Bill Cosby, so don't get your panties in a bunch. I'm just saying the energy in general that she defends. And this is another prime example of it, of her saying that the Holocaust was not about race. Well, if it wasn't about race, then what the fuck was it about? What was it about? Whoopi Goldberg, you in danger, girl. They trying to sacrifice you. The same thing happened to Sharon Osbourne. Now, they're saying that Whoopi Goldberg is suspended for 2 weeks. But let's see if she's really only suspended for 2 weeks. How much are you all trying to bet? Well, I ain't going to bet because I don't know. Wait a minute. How much are you all trying to bet? How much you trying to bet? No, I ain't going to bet because I don't know. I hope she comes back to the table. I don't want to see her lose her job or anything like that. But what I don't understand with her, what she said was something stupid and ignorant according to the Jewish community. I don't know. But again, this is her subconscious pattern. And I'm pretty sure I could find more and more examples of her being in this subconscious pattern of excusing racism and prejudice. She did the exact same thing to Mel Gibson. She told Joan Rivers, I don't care what anybody says about him. He's my friend. I don't care. And people say stupid stuff all the time. Yeah, that's true, Whoopi. People do say stupid shit all the time. But if I call a white person a white MF, it's because they did something specifically to me. No black people did anything to Mel Gibson. When he left that horrible voicemail on his ex-wife's or ex-girlfriend's phone talking about he hopes that she gets raped by a bunch of N-words, what black men did anything to him for him to have made that type of vile statement? Number one, he's wishing rape on a woman. He's wishing a vicious violation on a woman, and he probably gets off on seeing black men sexually assault or bang white women. A lot of white men do. Yeah, I'm pulling y'all motherfucking coat. I'm pulling your tea. A lot of white men get off on stuff like that. It's just a fact. And it's the fact that you still stood by this man after he wished, take the black out of the equation. He wished for that woman to be raped. We all heard it on the voicemail, and you can't say it wasn't him because it sounded just like him. It sounded just like him. But that's right. He's your friend. So it makes it okay. It makes it okay. But you know, Whoopi Goldberg is not the only person that's caught in this type of subconscious pattern. A lot of black men are caught in this type of subconscious pattern. They will accept white people as they are. They will accept white homosexuals as they are. But when you're a black woman or a black homosexual, you gotta look like this. You gotta look like that. You gotta be like this. You gotta be like that. Even those fucking conscious fucking weirdos over there in the occult magical conscious community, they're the same way. It's a subconscious pattern. Their platforms are becoming more and more white and watered down. They'll bash and condemn and dismiss gay black people who do have a place in these sciences. These motherfuckers say that they got pure hearts and they go into this shit with a pure heart, but no, they don't. Because deep down inside, they have a deep-rooted hatred for gay black people in particular. In particular. But they say that they're in this with a pure heart. No, they're not. So it's a subconscious pattern for them too. They accept any race as they are, but other black people. That's a sickness. That's a disease. And Whoopi Goldberg is an example of that disease. She's an example of accepting racism, accepting anti-Semitism. She's an example of that. And the Jewish community said, no, ma'am. And you know what? I don't fucking blame them in this instance. See, if black people did the same things that the Jewish community did, we would be a lot motherfucking further. They got her shut down. They got her shut down because she dismissed their pain and she dismissed what they went through. Like a lot of black people do to other black people in that fucking industry. Especially a lot of fucking black men. Them motherfuckers, I don't know. Them motherfuckers and them black men in that fucking industry, there's some motherfucking troglodyte, zirconian, fucking manic, bipolar, schizophrenic motherfuckers, child. They are. And them motherfuckers over there in that conscious community. They're the same way. They don't give a fuck about black people. They don't. Now you see a lot of them interviewing white men on their panels. When at one time they said that white men had no place in our fucking sciences. But now you see them interviewing white men and including them in black sciences. And no disrespect to white men or people, but I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy. Because there are white spiritualists and white occultists that, you know, if they have something of value to say, I get it. But I'm pointing out the hypocrisy and the subconscious pattern that these people walk in. And how they mistreat other black people and other African Americans. But they say they have a pure heart, right? Yeah, right. Anyway, that's all I really had to say. Whoopi Goldberg got exactly what has been coming to her for a long time. Now, all of a sudden, when George Floyd gets killed, murdered, then she finally gets it. But what I don't like is that nobody called her out for her many years of appeasing anti-Semitics and racist. Nobody called her out for that. And I'm not necessarily talking about the people on her panel. I'm talking about in general. See, I remember because I used to watch The View regularly when The View had a little bit more dignity and respect. I used to watch The View. But now, I don't really like that cast that they have on there, or that group that they have on there now. Like they have that old Anna Navarro and all them other goddamn people on there. I don't, I don't really care for Anna Navarro like that. I really don't. If they want to put a Latino or someone on there, they should get someone better than her. They should get someone better than her. They can do a lot better than that. Get a real Latino conservative on the show, not someone that's going to agree with everything that the liberal panel says. So they got rid of. I know a lot of people didn't like Meghan McCain because she was like a wild card. You know what I mean? She said whatever she wanted to out of her mouth. But in actuality, Meghan McCain was truth. She told you the truth about who she was. But see, The View doesn't want truth. They want to hide things with rose-colored smells. They want to hide shit with roses and rosy smells. It's a big pile of shit sitting under the table, but you want to cover that up. Or there's a dead body, probably Barbara Walters. There's a dead body that they didn't sacrifice, but that's another story. There's a dead body right up under the fucking table. But they want to cover that up with roses and flowers and lime. Because they say that lie. They say that lye covers, those type of foul smells. I think that was a horrible mistake. So now they probably want to replace Meghan McCain with a conservative, more like Ana Navarro, who will go along with what they will say. I don't have anything personal against Ana Navarro because I don't know her, but I don't think she's a good fit to be on the panel, not even as a recurring guest. They need someone that is a real conservative like Condoleezza Rice. Now, I don't consider myself liberal or conservative. I'm kind of in the middle when it comes to politics. I'm in the middle. But I want to hear all opposing sides, whether I like it or not. It doesn't matter whether I like it or not. I want to hear both sides. Both sides. Just like the same thing that's happening with China and Taiwan. A lot of people think that China should allow Taiwan to have its independence, but au contraire, I feel as though that if that land and if that country or territory belongs to China, China has every fucking right to say, mind your business, United States, mind your business, Australia, mind your business, other Western white countries. Mind your business. Same thing with Kuwait. From what I understand, Kuwait had always belonged to Iraq. And I'm not trying to get into all that because people get their feathers ruffled when you talk about shit like that, which I don't give a fuck about. But I'm just pointing out subconscious patterns of behaviors, even at the highest level of government. The ones that we see and the ones that we don't. Because you do know there's a shadow government, right? Okay. And I've seen that motherfucking shit too in the astral. Child. Y'all just don't know the things I see sometimes. I can't even tell y'all because it just would be too much. It's just too much. The things I see. It's like the eyes of Laura motherfucking Mars, child. I tell you, it's really interesting. It's nothing to be scared of, but the shit that really goes on. I tell you. But Whoopi Goldberg is getting exactly what she deserves. And a lot of people are saying that, they're being too hard on her. No, they're not. Whoopi Goldberg has made excuses for racist and anti-Semitism for a very long time. And, I don't rejoice in what's happening to her. I don't rejoice in that. But go back to that clip of Joan Rivers. Look it up on YouTube. Joan Rivers versus Whoopi Goldberg on Mel Gibson. Type that in. And look at how she is so vehemently defending this racist and this anti-Semitic man. Look at how she's defending him. She said that because she spent a lot of time with him, she didn't think that he was racist. You can spend time with people all you want. It doesn't mean that they're not walking in a racist subconscious pattern. It doesn't mean that. Same thing with black people when it comes to bias towards other black people and prejudice towards other black people. That can be looked at as a form of practicing racism. I'm not going to say that black people are being racist towards other black people, but they can practice. They can practice the institutional ways of it against other black people. I've experienced that my motherfucking self, living here in the institution known as Washington, D.C. I saw what they did to my friend Christopher Berry, how they closed doors, how they drove him, how they used certain frequencies to drive him to some of the things that he did that weren't that good for him. He told me how the government was fucking with him, using frequencies through his fucking phone to fuck with him. And I know a lot of people, see, I ain't talked about this. It's a lot of shit that I know about what happened to Christopher Berry. But most of the people that were fucking with him and that were assisting in his downfall were black men and black women. Specifically, that bitch of a stepmother of his, Cora Masters Berry. And now all of a sudden, she's so motherfucking pro-black now when that bitch was supporting racist fucking Republicans not that long ago. Now all of a sudden, Cora Masters Berry has an issue with white women, but you didn't have an issue with them back in 2017 when you were supporting them in their so-called movement here in D.C. But now she has a problem with white women. Now they're racist. Now you're a soul sister. Bitch, please. Bitch, please. Bitch, please. And yes, I'm calling that bitch an old bitch because she's a fake, she's a fraud, and she's allegedly a fucking thief. And my aunt that I started talking back to, my aunt even said that. My aunt even said that. Who I just started talking back to not that long ago. We hadn't spoken since 2014 because we had a falling out. But now we're talking back and I had to catch her up on everything that's been going on. I had to catch my aunt up. And even she said that she's a fucking thief and a no good rotten ass bitch. Yeah, I fucking said it. And I'm calling her a bitch because of how she has betrayed other black women and how she has betrayed black men in this town as well. Because it's a subconscious pattern. And like Whoopi Goldberg, now Cora is trying to act like she's some motherfucking soul sister after what happened to George Floyd. Now all of a sudden, white women are a problem now. But you were out there marching with them in that bullshit ass women's march in 2017, which had nothing to do with helping black women, real black women, rise up. That was agenda-based black women who step on the necks of the real black women who deserve to rise up. Because she's another Whoopi Goldberg. And then I saw her recently, not that long ago. She's all up in pictures with Felicia Rashad. Miss Rashad, don't let that woman try to steal your fucking energy. Because that's all she does. She's a get-wit. Every time somebody dies, oh, that was my friend. Muhammad Ali died. There was a picture of Muhammad Ali just tapping her on the shoulder. Now all of a sudden, Muhammad Ali is her friend. Maya Angelou was her best friend. Girl, get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. I don't want to hear that shit. You're a fake, fraudulent person. You're not even from DC. She's from Oklahoma. Oklahoma. She's not even a Washingtonian. She doesn't understand the energy here. She wiggled her way into that Berry family so she could reap the benefits of the name. That's it. If that bitch knew some of the stuff that Christopher Berry told me about her, that bitch would die. She would die. And I'm not wishing no death on her. I'm just saying she wouldn't like it. But she's another example of a subconscious pattern. She got close to all of these pro-black men like Marion Barry because she's a fucking agent. Cora Masters Berry is an agent. She's an agent. And a lot of those people in DC, these new breed people, excuse me, I had to blow my nose. A lot of these new breed people, they're agents. And Marion Barry would have nothing to do with them. I saw a post by her where all of a sudden she has an issue with white women, but you were out there marching with those same white women. Now you don't see her with those other women anymore. And this ain't no shade to white women. I'm just showing you the hypocrisy of these types of people that are caught in this subconscious pattern. And I can go even deeper in this motherfucking shit, but I don't want to because it's too personal, and I don't really want to go there. But Whoopi Goldberg is caught in a subconscious pattern, and she doesn't know it. She needs to come to somebody like me so I can point it out to her and let her know why this is happening to her. She has supported racism against black people. She supported racism against the whole rainbow of people, trying to defend anti-Semitics and racists at the same fucking time. And then to say that the Holocaust was not about race. Anyway, this is Sia Grant, aka The Occult View, BKA that motherfucking nigga. And I mean royalty. I just had to say that. So Whoopi, go take your vitamin B12 in my Fiona Good voice from American Horror Story. Go take your vitamin B12, little girl, because you're going to need it. Go take your vitamin B12 because you're going to need it. You're going to need it. You're going to need it. Because I don't think this is the end of this. For some reason, I just don't think it's the end. Could be, but I think that there's going to be more of a fallout behind this. Maybe she can go over there. Maybe she can go over there to the talk. Because they tired as a motherfucker now. They got fucking men up there on the panel who are boring as a motherfucker. The talk was about women. Men are boring in those types of situations. Just like when we look at soap operas and daytime dramas and shit, for those people that do, we look for the women drama. We ain't looking for no motherfucking men. Men are boring. We're boring. Shit, when I used to look at Dynasty when I was a child, I was looking at it to see Diane Carroll and Joan Collins and Linda Evans and Heather Locklear and all them. Same thing with the talk. The talk is boring now because they don't want to have real conversations. They don't want to have real conversations. No, they want to excuse them. They don't want to have real conversations. That's why they got rid of Sharon Osbourne. And then they labeled her as a racist. I don't believe Sharon Osbourne is a racist. Just my personal opinion. I think that what happened was, I think that she got involved in some shit, and not even got involved. I think she was, and nobody's talked about this. I think that what happened was because of her friendship with Piers Morgan, who people say are racist, who people say is a racist, excuse me. I think that was the issue because of his attacks on Meghan Markle, which I don't understand. I really don't understand why so many black people are mad about what he said about Meghan Markle. I didn't even know she was fucking black. I didn't know she was black until they said it. And I'm just being honest. I'm not saying that she deserves to be attacked now, but I'm just pointing it out. That when real black women who are light skinned or even dark skinned go through shit, they don't get this type of motherfucking support. And I remember that motherfucking bitch Cora Masters Berry was over there having some fucking tea party. Oh, the princess is getting married. The first black princess. When that motherfucker has done more to destroy other black women than anybody that I know. But when black women who you can look at and see are really black or African American or black in general, when they go through shit like this, they don't get the same support. Where's the support for Monique? I thought so. Where was the support for Monique? And I know some people may not like Monique, but where was the support for her when she was being violated and misused and abused by members of the black community like Oprah and Tyler Perry and Lee Daniels? And I don't give a fuck who likes them. I don't give a fuck. And I know I said I was going, but child, I got a little bit more juice in me. I feel like talking a little bit more. Where was the support for her? Didn't nobody rally behind her? As a matter of fact, Whoopi Goldberg and Cheryl Underwood basically told Monique, bitch, shut the fuck up and take the motherfucking dick. Steve Harvey did the same fucking thing. He told her, shut the fuck up and take the motherfucking dick. But Meghan Markle all of a sudden deserves more protection. Being married to a white man, she deserves more protection and more support from the black community than people who are actually in the black community. Meghan Markle is not in the black community. She's married to a prince. The fuck? And then black people wonder why we're in the position that we're in. You can't depend on them conscious motherfuckers to lead you or to give you any type of wisdom or guidance because they're just like these predatory types of black people in Hollywood because a lot of them are connected to that motherfucking shit. From failed fucking rappers to failed fucking actors to failed fucking producers and all of that fucking bullshit. Them niggas wish I shoulda coulda. Yeah, I said it. I said it. Where was Monique's support from Cheryl Underwood and Whoopi Goldberg? No, they decided to tear her down covertly even more and to make her feel bad for speaking out against what happened to her, just like those niggas did to me in the conscious community. Because they didn't like me from the get-go. Which is okay because I don't like none of them motherfuckers either. They could live or die for all I fucking care. They ain't nothing but a bunch of cockroaches to me any motherfucking way. Excuse me, I take that back. Cockroaches are more advanced than they are. They are. Cockroaches are really, when all of us are gone, if there was a nuclear war, cockroaches would still be here. They would still be here. They are bad motherfuckers. Them and turtles, they can live under the most horrible conditions. Even when this planet won't be livable, cockroaches will still be here. Because they are Brazilian. People don't understand that. And I'm not talking about the cockroaches you find in your house. I'm talking about a real cockroach that you find in nature. Let's just be fucking real about this fucking shit. Let's be motherfucking real. Let's be 100% real. And all of this is a subconscious pattern. Nobody is that motherfucking conscious that they can't be caught up in a subconscious pattern. Nobody. Except me. Because I've never been caught in a subconscious pattern where I thought that others were better than me. Never. I've always treated other African Americans and black people better than I did others, because others do the same thing, or rather, I gave them a certain level of respect that most of them didn't even fucking deserve. And I'm specifically talking about other black men. Specifically. Because they're caught in a subconscious pattern, just like Whoopi Goldberg. Just like her. Your magic has to really, really be strong. And you really have to have no motives. And I'm not going to say that pure heart shit because that's cliche. Your heart, let me say it this way. Your heart has to be free of bigotry and free of hatred and implicit bias in order for you to really free yourself from these subconscious patterns and chains. And I can look out into the virtual world and look at all of these motherfucking people pretending like their hearts are in the right place when it's not. It's really not. I don't care how many followers you have. I don't care how much money you have. All of that shit is temporary anyway. Because eventually you will perish. I will perish. But the most important thing is creating a legacy where you will be revered and remembered. So you can live on forever, or your spirit or an aspect of you that the one that left, the current one, if you know what I mean. That's the most important thing. And I remember something that Bobby Hemmett said in well, it wasn't a recent video, of course, but it was a video that I saw. He said, you have to be humble. And see, people misinterpret and they misuse that word humble. They think humble means bowing your head and being a bitch and being soft. No, that's not what humble is. Humble is not taking anyone for granted. And not thinking that you are so great that you can't be motherfucking taken out or replaced. Humble is not sleeping on people. Just because they admire you, you misuse and abuse that person's energy. Like I have a play little brother over in the UK. He's much younger than me, and he's like my play little brother. He's 22, 23. I don't know. His name is AR. And I recognize how much he admires me. And he's heterosexual. I recognize how much he admires me. You know what I'm saying? He really admires me. And I told him, I said, look, don't ever admire anyone more than you admire yourself. Because he is even on a more advanced level than I am. And I'm humble to that. He's one of those ancient titans returned, coming to test me to see what the fuck I've been doing down here. So to me, that's humble. Knowing that there are people, no matter what their circumstances are, no matter what their backgrounds are, there are people that can always teach you something. You can always learn something from someone. You know what I mean? But because the conscious community is inflicted with implicit bias, homophobia, self-image issues, inner conflict, a lot of them niggas are bipolar, manic depressive, schizophrenic, and their chakra system is in total disarray. It's in total disarray. They're either too arrogant or they're too weak. Their heart chakra is either too, it's too prone to being taken advantage of, or it's in a space of passive aggressiveness. The passive aggressive heart chakra. A lot of them niggas are fucked up. A lot of them are. And it's so sad that they have so many people following them. I don't want no followers. I don't want no followers. I don't need no followers. I'm comfortable in my life. I'm an occultist, and this is what I do. This is the occult view. And I'm giving you my occult view, an assessment of these people and their subconscious pattern. This is real occultism right here. This is what it's all about. This is real occult work right here. It's not about no talking to no fucking stone or talking to no fucking crystal or talking to no motherfucking, you can use tools, of course. But real occultism is looking beyond the veil and looking at what's hidden. And that's what I do. I like to look at people, and I like certain people, not everyone. I like to look at people and examine what are they hiding? What are they hiding? Who is that person for real? Especially when the person does something to me. That is when I go into a occult detective mode, called stealth mode. You never see me coming. You never see me coming. I have fucked, you know what? And I don't even want to brag about this because I didn't do it to really harm people. But I'm always in defense mode. People have done stuff to me, and then I would have to go into the astral and fuck them up. Because I'm not just going to sit and let people do fucked up shit to me. You understand what I'm saying? There are stories that I can tell you all, but I don't do that because my heart is just not into hurting people senselessly. And people that are caught in a subconscious pattern, that's what they do. That's what they do. They are still stuck in the misguided patterns of their youth. And these men are 50 plus fucking years old. A lot of them, a lot of these black men, they're 50 plus motherfucking years old. And I see a lot, and I'm gonna point this out too. I see all of these motherfucking relationship gurus, these black male, I'm not even naming no names, but I see a lot of these relationship black male gurus or image people or whatever the case may be. And a lot of that shit that they're talking, they stole a lot of that shit from black women. A lot of the black conscious men, they built their platforms off of the teachings of Shahrazad Ali. The queen mother sister, Shahrazad Ali. They stole a lot of her motherfucking talking points. They stole a lot of her fucking energy to use it against black women. It's okay to use it, but at least give credit where credit is due. I remember years ago when Shahrazad Ali, when she when she was doing various talk shows, and there were certain individuals in the audience, and now they have a much more major presence than she does. Shahrazad Ali should be in the same category, or in the same energies as some of these so-called conscious black men. Because if you remember back in the day, it was a lot of conscious black women out there speaking and on the front motherfucking lines. Because black women have the spirit and black men have the knowledge. Shahrazad Ali should, I know she's older now, so she probably don't do a lot of I've seen a couple of her interviews that she's done recently, and one thing about Miss Ali, she stays consistent in everything that she fucking says. But a lot of her work has been stolen. And people and a lot of these black men have benefited from her work. And the thing is, they've used and perverted her work for their own personal gain. Same thing with Bobby Hemmett. Same thing with Bobby Hemmett. That was the only, truthfully, that's the only conscious black man that I see that had a pure heart in this. That's why he's no longer around anymore. He said, fuck this shit, I'm checking the fuck out. Yeah, I said it. I said it. Bobby Hemmett was the only one that I could see that had a pure heart because he didn't have ulterior motives. The rest of these motherfucking niggas, they got ulterior motives. That is how I know they don't have a fucking pure heart, as they say. Fuck out my face with that bullshit. Anyway, I know I stayed a lot longer than I said I was, but I just wanted to get that off my chest about Whoopi Goldberg. She's caught in a subconscious pattern, and she needs to wake up from it, or she is going to destroy what's left of her life. Anyway, that's all I have to say. Thank you.